I'm Lisa Federico, and this is Inside Northwest Columbus. After spending decades in corporate marketing, I traded boardrooms for backyards because the best stories are happening right here at home. Every week, you'll meet entrepreneurs, creatives, and everyday neighbors doing extraordinary things across Worthington and Northwest Columbus. So let's jump into this week's conversation. Welcome to Inside Northwest Columbus. I'm your host, Lisa Federico. Thank you so much for joining me. This month, we are focusing on giving. That's our theme. And I am so excited to have with us today Brad Griffith of Buckeye Innovation. Welcome, Brad. Welcome to the show.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me.
It's so great to have you. You are doing such amazing work in Central Ohio. I'm so anxious to hear about all the projects. I really want to talk about VocFit. I think you've won an award there, and I just think my readers are going to be very interested in the mission-driven development that you do.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Let's start out with, I know you're from Dublin. We were talking about our roots here in Columbus.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into and how you started Buckeye Innovation. Where did that come from?
Sure. So I'll take you back to my childhood. I grew up in a very entrepreneurial family. My dad was a veterinarian for 50 years.
Wow.
He had his practice. You know where the car dealership, the Lexus dealership is on 161
of course.
In Dublin. He had his veterinary practice right there, and he moved it down 161 into Linworth area. So all around this Northwest Columbus area. He had a practice for 50 years, and I grew up going in Christmas Day, for instance. He would take emergencies. Every Christmas Day, an animal would eat an ornament off the tree, and you'd have to do surgery or all sorts of things would go wrong. We would have to go in and help him out, or we would get to go in and help him out with the animals who were boarding. We'd take them for walks and clean kennels, assist in exam rooms. So I learned in an entrepreneurial family that you all pitch in, and the resources that you have in a small growing business are not what you have at a big business. I later would work at JP Morgan Chase, a very different story.
Very big business.
Very big business. I believe the second largest employer in the state of Ohio, second only to the state itself, the state government.
Yeah.
So growing up in this family, my brother is an attorney. He would do some legal work, or early on, some things related to that for my dad. I built my dad's website. I would help him with some of the marketing efforts. Maybe your neighbor's friend, your neighbor's son knows how to do something. You just gather resources where you can. I saw that there was this need for these amazing, I'm biased, but my dad did some life-changing work for animals. He did chiropractic and acupuncture, and he did all sorts of different alternative medicines, Chinese herbal medicine. And sometimes he could have impacts on these animals' lives. And are you an animal owner?
I am.
So you know how important those fur babies are, those children that live in your life. So he could have these amazing effects, but his business might not have thrived if he didn't get access to resources. And he had some good connections, and he had, my brother's very talented, and I tried to help him out. He had good resources. Not every business does. So as my business has grown, I have realized there are different levels of access that people have, and different reasons that someone might have more access than another business, or a for-profit business has access to resources that a not-for-profit has. And so when I started my business, it'll be almost 17 years ago now, I said there's got to be a better way to give these growing organizations that have life-changing products and services access to the same level of technology and design that a big business has. And that's why I started it.
And so when you were in college, you said you went to Ohio State.
I did.
Yeah. So did you go into software engineering development? Like how did you go from being in school, right, to saying, I want my own business, and this is what I want to do?
Yeah, good question. So when I was in high school, my first job was for an educational planning firm. And this, I think, also goes when we start talking about giving and how I want my business to give back and to have equitable impact on the community. I had connections living in Dublin. It's a great community. I had connections. My brother's best friend's family had a business. And so I got a job at their family business. And it taught me a lot about building websites. I built some web applications for this educational planning firm. And some of the partners at that firm were my first clients when I started my business. So I had great opportunity when I was in high school. was inspired by my teacher, Kevin Burns at Dublin Scioto, who taught our Problems in Technology class, where we learned how to build websites. He didn't know how to build websites, but he taught us how to teach ourselves. Yeah. And so I had great opportunities there, went to Ohio State for electrical and computer engineering. And so I got an engineering degree, went back for a business degree, my MBA at Ohio State as well. Worked for a company here in Powell it was called New Product Innovations, a product design and development firm. Yeah. And had some great experiences there. And then JP Morgan Chase for 2 years. And then I started my business.
Yeah. And what was the impetus for starting the business? Like, at what point were you like, you know what? It's a huge decision.
Sure.
Right? When you're getting a paycheck from an employer and then you go to starting your own, it's, can be Terrorsville, right? Right. So what was the impetus for doing that? And how did you take the leap of faith?
Well, so I think I had entrepreneurship in my genes. I think with my dad and my mom running the business with him as well. My aunt and uncle run a toy store in Salt Lake City, Utah. So I've got other family members. It's definitely
in your blood.
It's definitely there. My grandfather was an entrepreneur, had a manufacturing company in Utah, invented the permanent press, that wrinkle-free technology. Oh, yeah. So I've got a lot of entrepreneurship in my genes. So I think I was just bound to be eventually. Yeah. I did say coming out of college that I wanted to have some experiences, different jobs. I did some internships out in San Diego for Qualcomm. I wanted to be a doctor at one point. That faded as I got deeper into chemistry, and I said, this isn't really where I want to be spending my time. So I think really starting the business, I had experiences at JP Morgan Chase, at a smaller product development firm, at an internet startup. And I said, I think it's time. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. I think I'm capable. I've got some good experiences. My last boss said, well, Brad, I understand if you got to do what you got to do. I don't think you're ready yet, but if you need to leave and start your... And so I did. And who is really ready to start a business when they start it?
It is a leap of faith. Absolutely.
You learn.
Right.
And so I said, I'm going to give it a try. And, again, that educational planning firm, one of the partners from that business gave me my first project. And so I was able to replace some of my income. Yeah. My wife was a school psychologist at the time, so she had good benefits and a solid job. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do this now because I don't think I'm going to do it if I wait too much longer. And I wouldn't have, because we moved to New Albany to get closer to her job. And then a year later, I started my business. And then a year later, we had our first child. And if we had a child before I started my business,
much more difficult.
Might have been different. Yeah.
So it's interesting. Many people start businesses with the mindset of they're going to go where the money is, right? And focus on, big clients and, big ticket items and things like that, or at least that's the dream. But what I find interesting is that you're very focused on the mission. So where did that come to be? Like, how is that such a part of, like, your delivery mechanism?
Right. It's a good question. I do run a for-profit business, so it's not completely altruistic that we're giving everything away. We do want to make money, but I think we can do good while doing well at the same time. Yeah. And so I think where that comes from probably is some realizations that I may have had. Advisors at Ohio State University, the impact of my wife, the impact of very loving parents who are very giving and generous, and in-laws as well. I've realized, and everyone has a different take on what they learn in life. In high school, I might have felt a little bit differently, but I've learned over the years that there are a lot of people that didn't have my life experience, that didn't have this support system, that didn't have the great education that I have, every bit of opportunity I could have possibly wanted. And I've worked hard, but I had a head start in a lot of these areas. Yeah. And so I think that's really where it comes from. I don't think I need to feel guilty about the opportunities I've had, but I do feel a responsibility to now use what I've achieved and the opportunity that I've been given to now provide opportunities for others. And so that's why we look at these organizations that, like the Columbus Library, one of my favorite clients, favorite organizations. They're one of our biggest long-term clients at my business. That's where I learned to write code. When I had a school project back in sixth grade, I was doing a book report, and I went to the Columbus Library, the Dublin branch, and checked out books, and I read the books and learned how to write HTML. And that's really how I got started. The Columbus Library now, this past week, I taught 3 workshops at the Columbus Library downtown. They are doing incredible work in digital equity and making sure that people have equitable access to information. Someone who may not have their own computer, a number of the folks who come to the workshop Whether they forget their computer or they don't have one at home, they can check out a laptop right at the Small Business and Nonprofit Resource Center. They come into the meeting room and they have this workshop where they learn how to build a website for their small business or their nonprofit.
Oh, that's great.
It's just the things that nonprofits and organizations like the library are doing. I want to be a part of that. And yes, I could probably get some clients. We have clients that are for-profit businesses. We've got 2 public companies that we work for. So we have some larger clients,
right.
But we have a lot of clients that are trying to bridge equitable divides. Yeah. And they say there are some people in our community who have access to things that others don't. And that's not necessarily fair. Let's try to figure out how can we get everyone access.
Yeah.
And so I love doing it. It's something that I think we can do because I know how to be very efficient and effective at what we do. We could do it for small businesses. We can also do it for these nonprofits that don't have access to the same resources as big businesses do.
You know, I say it all the time, but our community really shapes who we are, you know, and you did have great resources around you. And like you said, not everybody does. Yeah. But I think it stresses the importance of having a community of people around you. Tell me about VocFit. Sure. I'm fascinated by the technology and what you've done, and then talk a little bit about the award.
Yeah.
It's an amazing achievement.
Thanks. So VocFit, it's short for vocational fit. It's a vocational fit assessment. There were a couple years where we had several projects from Ohio State University. So this technology started at the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center, and there were 2 principal investigators who were working on a technology that it basically is a process for evaluating the skills, the abilities of individuals with disabilities, and then the demands of jobs. And so if you do that skills assessment and the demands assessment and you match those together, then you can get this vocational fit assessment that matches individuals with disabilities to jobs that they can do, but that also push them in important areas to teach them additional skills where they need additional development. So it's taking a population of individuals with disabilities who may not have been given opportunities for certain jobs. They may not have had the vocational opportunity that many of us do, and it matches them up so that they can learn through workforce development training. Yeah. It's a very, very cool system. What they were doing when we met them is that they had an Excel spreadsheet. I'm sure you've seen, working in marketing, you've seen these massive Excel spreadsheets that people have. They had an Excel spreadsheet that they would use, and then they would have parents fill out paper surveys and employers fill out paper surveys, type it all into a spreadsheet, run a bunch of numbers, copy and paste charts into a PowerPoint presentation, and they'd say, okay, here's what we've determined. Here are 3 different jobs. We think this one might be the best fit. And the family might say, well, what about this or something? And they say, okay, well, let us go back and we'll crunch some more numbers and we'll meet again in a week or so. We have built a system now that instead of a spreadsheet, it's all entered into a web application that's mobile friendly. It's available worldwide. And what they can do is they can fill all of their information in there, and it automatically generates what we call the thumbprint. It gives you a visual indicator of the job match, the job fit for lots of different jobs.
Just a quick break to let you know that January on Inside Northwest Columbus is all about feeling better, living smarter, and actually taking control of your health this year. All month long, we're sitting down with experts and we're rethinking wellness and real ways, from sports medicine, pain relief, to menopause care, to the daily habits that genuinely move the needle. No trends, no gimmicks, just practical insights from the people shaping health and wellness right here in our community. If you haven't already, make sure you hit subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss out on conversations that could change how you start this year.
It's a very cool system.
Take me through an example of how someone with a disability would use it. I'm imagining that if somebody is a real good talker or communicator, maybe there's like questions that you ask them in the application, and that's like talk me through how that works.
And no, I'm not the expert on the process that they went through, but so the application we built, it has a set of questions that are all questions about someone's abilities. So tell me about Joe's abilities. What is Joe really good at? And it has varying levels, a scale of low ability to high ability in each area.
Okay.
And so you fill that out. There are maybe 50 different items that you fill out. And then for each job, the job demands have those same sort of questions. How much does this job demand great communication skills? The ability to lift items that are 40 pounds or over. a love of, I don't know, they might have like different types of jobs. So then based on those two sets of data, we can match them up. And so Joe may be really good with people, and he has a passion for animals, and he's able to lift things. And maybe the Columbus Zoo had a job that matched that really well. And so now Joe's going to get to work at the Columbus Zoo in an internship. There's an organization called Project Search that helps with a lot of these job opportunities. And so it gives a workforce development opportunity. So the zoo could get someone who they may not have been able to hire otherwise. Right. Joe gets an opportunity that he wouldn't have had. And it's an equitable impact kind of project that we love.
Who uses VocFit?
There are lots of organizations around the state of Ohio. I got to co-present at a Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities conference. They helped to fund some work, and it's part of what we won the award for. So I had to speak at a conference, and these were folks from all over the state of Ohio who are working with individuals with disabilities who get to use this application. And I got Dennis Cleary, one of the two principal investigators who is now at Cincinnati Children's Hospital. He went over to Italy and he was presenting. He sent me a video they took on his cell phone of someone in Italian describing VocFit to his colleagues. They're using it around the world.
Oh my!
So there are opportunities in Canada. There are all sorts of places that they're using this.
But really helping people with disabilities be able to move into positions that they're going to be successful in.
Right, absolutely, and it'll build up important skills that they didn't have.
Yeah.
But it really is neat to see that, because there's no way that they could have done this with a spreadsheet and a PowerPoint. So the technology is really an essential part. But the technology is not what's making the difference. It's this people who have a passion for working with individuals with disabilities, making sure that they have a fair opportunity at employment. Right. And so we want to build enabling technology to say, VocFit, you were doing amazing things. You could scale better if you had great technology and design. And that's where we come in, and that's what we love spending time on.
And so then do nonprofits then purchase the software to be able to use with their constituents? Is that how that works?
Right now, it's completely free. It's all grant funded. So VocFit does not make it. They've talked about is there a social enterprise model potentially, but so far it has been completely grant funded. And this, as part of the work that we did, that we got a Stevie Award, we received the Stevie Award for, we actually got funding from the Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities, and we were able to fund some additional research for VocFit as well as funding our development work. And it's a great program that they've done every couple of years. So it's grants like that help to fund the work, and they don't have to charge individuals. They don't charge employers. It's really a great program.
It feels good, right?
Feels great,
to put that kind of stuff out into the world. Good for you. Thank you so much for the work you do.
For sure.
Tell me, we talked a little bit about your work with the library and, of course, VocFit. Mm-hmm. Tell me about some other cool projects that you've worked on. What are some of your favorites?
Sure. So I went from that project with the library. I talked a little bit about the workshops that we're doing for the library. We're also doing workshops through Accelerate Columbus. That's a program the City of Columbus's Small Business Office runs, and they have funded this past year, I think it was 10 different entrepreneurial support organizations, companies and nonprofits who do work with entrepreneurs to help those small businesses grow. And so we have funding from them to do workshops as well, these website workshops. And it's a little more robust than the smaller cohorts that we do with the library, or the shorter cohorts. We actually have had more participants in the library workshops because they're open to everyone. They're open to nonprofits as well. You don't have to be in the City of Columbus proper. But Accelerate Columbus has been a great partner of ours for 2 years. Next year, we're going to have another set of cohorts for these website development workshops. Any entrepreneurs who want to build websites can come for free to that workshop if they're located in the City of Columbus. So anywhere in Northwest Columbus in particular, if you're in the City of Columbus in that area, then you can participate in those free workshops. Yeah. I'll bet the Columbus Library will do some as well.
Yeah.
And then we have a lot of professional service projects. I'm sorry.
No, please.
Yeah. So I would say some of our favorite projects, the Columbus Library, building their websites, it's been a fantastic project. A lot of city government. So the city of Hilliard has been doing some great things recently. Their a new fitness facility. We built a microsite for that. We maintain the main City of Hilliard website as well. Yeah. The City of New Albany has been a great long-term partner. I started my business there. They have been a long-term client both with their main website, their intranet website that we built recently that helps with internal communication, the Innovate New Albany website for their innovation initiative. We do a lot of work there at Innovate New Albany, and that's where my office is currently. So that's fine. We also do a lot of mobile app projects. We've got a mobile app project for a company called Myers Tire Supply. It's a mobile app that's used in tire shops. This is a very different example. It's used in tire shops that want to reorder parts. And so we built a mobile app that allows them to scan a QR code or a barcode and reorder those parts to help them keep their shelf stocked. And for Myers Tire Supply, it helps to make sure that they're very efficient about reorders, that they're filling the shelves more efficiently, and it's increased order volume, both the average order size and the order frequency. So we'll do things like that as well that are for profit but mobile app based.
And it is a combination of building websites as well as mobile apps or other kinds of applications that businesses or nonprofits need.
That's right. Yeah, I saw a unique combination of skills that are really needed. You need design, you need development, and you need content strategy.
Yeah.
And
usability.
And usability, absolutely. So our designers focus a lot on both UI and UX design. So the interface, how things look, but also how does it flow? Who is this person who's gotten to our website or is using our mobile app? What do they want to accomplish? And how do we make sure they can accomplish that very effectively? So we have all three of those skill sets on our team: design, development, and content strategy.
Yeah. Do you do any search engine or AI optimization? Are you grappling with the switchover that many companies are trying to deal with now?
So grappling is a good term. I mean, there are a lot of aspects to AI for sure. I'm fascinated with these AI-driven development tools and how that will and is revolutionizing our industry. The capability of a talented engineer with those tools in their hands is incredible. We actually had our quarterly team meeting earlier today, and we're a fully remote team, so we're all on Google Meet. And we did an exercise where we broke into 3 groups, and they only had 45 minutes to build as much as they possibly could. We have portals that we give all of our clients where they can look at performance statistics for their website and understand how their website's performing. And I said, we want to build additions to that. And I want you to, for 45 minutes, build whatever you can. It's amazing how much just in 45 minutes can be built, working functionality that came out of that. Yeah. So the development tools will be one side of the AI question. Yeah. SEO, to me, I could go into a lot of depth on these. SEO for me is it's a content game. It's really just, do you have great content? There are some technicalities that you could dig into, but I tell someone who says, do you do SEO? I say, we will help you with content strategy. Yeah. Yes, we could also do some technical optimization, but first things first, I want to make sure that you've got great content and you update it regularly and it's good enough that other people want to link to it and read it and share it on social media. So if they're not interested in that, if they just say, no, I just want this old content that's here, I just want you to make that rank better, that's probably not a great fit. Yeah. But my dad's website, for instance, ranked very well in search engines. Never paid anyone for search engine optimization. He just wrote content about alternative medicine for pets and pet care and boarding and all the different things that he did.
Yeah. I ask because with the surge of AI, we're seeing a lot of companies now who had really been focused on the content, but now they're kind of retooling that content so that the AI engines will pull that content and be able to serve that up in Google searches. Yeah. It's a whole different game, and I think we're still grappling, with trying to figure out what is the strategy there.
Are you seeing them do more of that in-house, trying to figure it out, or outside?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both. I think the SEO companies are trying to figure out, how do I retool a little bit? Right. But then, website owners, business owners, at all levels are trying to figure out, how does my website get into, the visibility sector when I'm just looking at what Google has brought back to me from AI versus all the different listings that you used to have. Yeah,
it is definitely different as you're thinking. Instead of it used to be you need to be on the first page, the top 10 results, but probably the top 3 results. If you're not the first result, though, half the clicks go to that first result.
Yep.
So then it falls off. But now, instead of half the clicks going to that first result, it's probably 90% of the clicks because the AI summary
is right there.
Gives you 1, maybe 2 options, and it might even tell you what you need. So there might not even be a click.
Yeah. Well, and 2, we're seeing I'm using search engines not as much as I used to. I will go to ChatGPT and do my searching there. Right. And so the algorithm, I think, the strategy has to be a little bit different.
For sure.
And I got to think it's mind-boggling to try to keep up.
It is. I think that's what's most exciting about my industry for me, and most mind-boggling and probably frustrating to a lot of clients or others, that it's so much to try to keep up with, the constant change. And that's what's invigorating to me, that I want to stay up on that constant change and help people to understand it.
Right.
And sometimes I need to try to understand it first. I was on a call with a client that does work in water quality, water purification in the Indianapolis area. And I was getting ready to pitch them on generative engine optimization, saying, really, you need to start thinking about how are you optimizing for ChatGPT and for Gemini, what Google shows you as their AI summary. And I said, it used to be that if you showed up on the top of the results, if you were paying for an advertisement and someone was looking for water quality in Indianapolis, you show up because you paid for an advertisement and you've got really highly relevant content.
Right.
So you'll be fine there. But now let me show you this. And on the call, I demoed. So what if I search for that in Google now and let's look at the AI summary? And they showed up in the AI summary. And I said, you're on top of the thing that I was going to suggest. You need to make sure that you are that answer. You are the one company that your company phone number shows up here in the AI summary when someone asks about water quality in Indianapolis. So I do see that very important. Yeah. I think it comes back to a content game.
Yeah, I think I agree with you.
Yeah.
It all starts with quality content. Didn't get the magazine at home? No problem. You can read it for free by signing up for our digital issues. Just head to the link in the show notes. And hey, if you're just listening to this episode, did you know you can watch it too? Catch the full video on YouTube, link below. So speaking of changes in technology, there's been some significant change in business as well. I know you said you started a number of years ago. Mm-hmm. And I just want to ask you, tell me about some of the biggest things that you've learned in running your business, and maybe some things that shocked you, and ways that you've kind of had to retool quickly.
Sure, I'm constantly doing that, and there are a lot of those opportunities. So things that I've learned. One thing I definitely think about. Have you ever read E-Myth or E-Myth Revisited? It's like an entrepreneurship myth. Talks about a woman. It tells a story of a woman who loved making pies, and she learned to make pies with her grandmother. And she said when she got older, she said, "You know what? I just love these memories of making pies. I'm going to start a pie making business." And she started the business, and she thought, "Oh my gosh, there's so much to do. Like I don't get to make the pies anymore. I've got to run the business, and I've got to manage the team members and the sales and the." So that was probably an early lesson. And I knew some of what was involved because of my dad running a business. But knowing what I really love doing, what I love doing is not just building a great technological solution. I still build a lot of tech.
Yeah.
Every week, my team on a Monday morning, they'll say, "I wonder what Brad built this weekend." And I'll have something else that I built.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to run a business successfully, I need to enjoy what we do. I need to enjoy the management of people, the management of the business. What I enjoy most is getting results, seeing my clients thrive, seeing an equity gap close, or I'm starting to see opportunities that were not there before. Those are the things I enjoy most. And so I enjoy the sales. I enjoy the accounting, building systems for our business that help us make better business decisions. I enjoy the technology. So you've got to know what it is that you love doing, and then surround yourself with people who are really good at those other things. Yep. I'm not a designer. You got to know what you know what you don't know, and then surround yourself by experts who know those things. And people who do know. Yeah. Right. So exactly. I've got great designer, a great team that's very well aligned. Another big lesson I think I learned is that you need to have mission, vision, values, some sense of your company purpose. And if you don't have that, it's really hard to lead a team in the same direction. And so I had a time in business where we really had a rift in the business, where half the team, I talked about this with someone earlier today, half of my team felt like what defines our culture is that we are a family. And we really enjoy hanging out with each other and going to the bar after work. And I said, I don't even drink. I'm not the bar type. That's not it for me. Yeah. To me, and the other half of the company really said, we are here for a purpose. Like we are here because we see a need. We are here to have a high performance culture aligned around the same purpose. And so I've tried to define the company that way. We defined our vision, our mission, our values. We have a lot of conversations about those, and we try to stay very well aligned on them. And that is something that only I can do. I cannot delegate that to my team. Yeah, exactly. That's got to come from me.
Did you have to bring the two sides together?
One of the sides left the business.
Yep.
Over a fairly short period of time, pretty much everyone found another job that was a better fit.
Right.
And so I think I wanted to start my business as very much a democracy. Everyone gets a say. I have found that there are times when the team needs leadership, and there are certain decisions that I do need to make. Yeah. And so I can run a very respectful company that seeks input from everyone, while also at the same time saying, this is our purpose, and this is the strategy that I want to follow, and I will be happy to take input, but there are a few decisions that I am going to make.
Yeah.
And so, ultimately, it sort of worked itself out. And now I think our team is very well aligned on the same purpose.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks.
Have you read the book, and of course now it'll slip my mind, Break All the Rules?
I have not. No, that does sound like a good one.
So this was a book that changed the way that I hire people. So, I think in the past, earlier in my career, I would hire people based on experience. And this book really taught me to hire for culture. And the reason why I bring it up is because it's so important that you're hiring the people, right, that are going to march down that path with whatever strategy that you set. And maybe it's that they have a mission and that you want that alignment. But there are talents that we have to recruit for, because you can't teach talent. You can teach skill sets, but not talent. And I think it speaks to how we hire in our companies that help us achieve the things that we want to do.
Yeah.
And how has and let's face it, one of the top things that my clients tell me is that it's really difficult to hire people. I just had somebody today that, out of 10 interviews that they will set up, only one person will show up for the interview.
Really?
And that just is heartbreaking. So as a business owner, how have you dealt with the workforce? Has it been an issue? And has it changed the way that maybe you look at hiring people?
Yeah, that's an interesting topic. The hiring people and managing people. I have people counting on me to lead a business where they want to continue working, and they can do their best work. So that is important. Boy, that's a tough conversion rate. If you've got 1 out of 10 showing up for your interview, I'm
sure that's not in every single industry.
Yeah.
But just today I was in a networking group, and 2 separate companies were talking about for 10 interviews, only 1 will show up.
Wow.
And that is just...
That's a tough challenge.
Yeah.
I really believe strongly in an employment brand, or in leading with the culture of the company. And so Breaking All the Rules sounds neat. I've read a book called Who that's about hiring for the who, not the skill set, but the inherent qualities of that person.
The talent.
Yeah. I don't know if you know Alec Broadfoot. Runs Vision Spark, really great company. They've been in the Inc. 5000 3 years in a row.
I'm aware of.
They're right up here in the north side of Columbus, nearby. They so he recommends that book, and they've got a great process for hiring that's been really helpful to me. I would say, and we've had various seasons over 17 years. There have been times when it's been really hard to find talent, and in the pandemic, we went from a fully in-person, everyone's here, we're buying lunch for the team every day culture. It was cheaper to buy lunch for the team and get better bonds between the team and have them there than to have everyone just scattering. Yeah. To now we're a fully remote team, and that defines our culture
huge
fully.
Change.
It's a big change.
Yeah.
But it has opened up opportunities to hire anywhere.
Yeah.
But if you would imagine, the last time I was hiring for an administrative assistant position, fully remote with a 4-day work week. Can you imagine how many applications we got?
I'm thinking you got a ton.
We got over 700 applications, and not just people expressing interest. I was using Indeed, and they have a one-way video interview.
Yeah, I've heard of this.
I had over 700 people submit a one-way video interview, which is a ridiculous number of people. So there are times when we're hiring and we just get an unreal response rate. Lately, I've been noticing, as you're talking about changes in employment and hiring, been noticing a lot of software engineers writing very eloquent cover letters. And I wonder how that's happening. So but then you communicate with them, and very quickly you realize that's not their writing.
Doesn't sound like you.
Yeah.
But we're using AI for so much now. And it's almost, from a candidate perspective, it's almost expected. Because, for example, if somebody is submitting a resume, right, there's usually an AI system behind it that's weeding out and looking through,
sure,
right?
Possible.
And so I think sometimes that puts pressure on candidates to create AI'd resumes, right, that fit the system so that you can hopefully cut through the clutter.
Right.
Not so sure if it's working or not. It sounds like it's,
Yeah.
I can't imagine how you go through 700 videos.
Yeah, it was a lot to go through.
Did you hire the person?
So I hired
all that?
someone, and it didn't last very long. She ended up finding a job in her dream industry, and so that was a lot of effort to go to not keep the person very long.
What is next for Buckeye Innovation? Where are you taking the company next? What's like on your horizon?
Great question. So we landed a great project recently. We're working with the state of Ohio to build a digital inclusion resource hub all around the state of Ohio. So all of the libraries and nonprofits who do digital skills training, provide access to technology, we're bringing all those resources together in one portal. It's for Broadband Ohio, part of the Ohio Department of Development. So we're getting some larger projects and going more statewide. We have team members who are in 4 other states, so I'd love to see us broaden and do some more work across the region or across the country. We've got people out on West Coast time as well. So I'd like to see more growth that way. You'll see more workshops. You'll see more products built by us. So there's a big movement for us towards building our own products. We have what we're calling a volunteer management system, a workflow platform for nonprofits. Because again, mission-driven work is really important to me. Yeah. If we can build tools that work very well for nonprofits to manage their events, manage their volunteers. I built, I don't know if you're into musical theater, New Albany High School is doing a production of Chicago Teen Edition.
Oh, wow.
My daughter will be in it this weekend.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, she's, it's kind of a heavy story. It's, a serious story. So I'm interested to see how the teenagers do performing this. Yeah. I built a platform for a raffle. So I've got raffle and silent auction functionality, and they're running a raffle of donated baskets. So I want to keep building these products that nonprofits can use. So instead of all custom work, we're building products that can be reused across multiple organizations. Right. So you'll see more of that from Buckeye Innovation too.
And how can companies or nonprofits who want to learn more, how can they find you?
Sure. You can find us online on our website, buckeyeinnovation.com. You can find us on social media by the same name, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram. And hopefully find us at a Columbus Library workshop. We'll be doing more of those in the near future. Yeah. I got to promote those workshops on Good Day Columbus recently. So keep looking for us in the press as we do good things, and our clients are doing amazing things. Hopefully you'll see a lot more of them.
Yeah. And you are on LinkedIn at Brad Griffith?
I am on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yep. LinkedIn, just search for Brad Griffith, Brad at buckeyeinnovation.com. That'd be another way to get a hold of me. So I'd love to talk about ideas you have for closing equity gaps if you have that opportunity.
Absolutely. This has been such a pleasure.
Well, thank you, Lisa.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. You're doing great work. Thanks. And I love seeing the fruits of your efforts in our community that are actually helping people, right, be able to get jobs and live their lives. And I just find your mission-driven focus super refreshing. Thank you.
I appreciate
so
it.
much for coming.
I'm looking forward to all the other episodes on giving. That's an important thing to make sure that we're using the resources we have to give back.
It takes a community.
It does
right?
take a community.
And we've all been the recipients of that. And so let's try to give that community to people who haven't had that experience.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Thank you. That's going to conclude this episode of Inside Northwest Columbus. If you want any more information about Brad or on Buckeye Innovations, you're going to find everything in the show notes. And if you love the show, please subscribe so that we can bring more episodes. And until next week, have an amazing week and happy holidays to everyone. And we will see you next week on Inside Northwest Columbus.
Boxland Media. Think big.